And here we are. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So happy to have you with us again on this really wonderful Saturday evening. My name is Nicholas Viselli. I am the artistic director of Theater Breaking Through Barriers, and I am indeed coming to you live, so very, very live from right here in the heart of the Thunderdome, right here just off of Times Square in beautiful Midtown Manhattan. And on behalf of all of our artists, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to Theater Breaking Through Barriers' 6th Virtual Playmakers Intensive, or VPI 6 Star Changers. My friends, I don't know what else to say other than this has been a really joyful experience this last 8 days. Well, this is our 9th performance tonight. So, so many wonderful plays, so much wonderful work, and the momentum is there, and we are in sort of full steam. So I'm so glad that you could join us, and I hope that you'll continue to join us through next Friday as we continue to share some brand new work with you that did not exist 3 weeks ago, and you're all seeing it for the first time here. It's all work in progress, but all being seen here for the first time ever. We have a really great show for you tonight. This is Saturday. All right, we're into the weekend now. What do you do on Saturdays? What do you do on weekends? Get together with family, get together with friends, sit around, have dinner, do a little dinner party, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I don't know. And this was not really planned originally, but I think it's ideal that Cate Allen came up with the perfect play for this beautiful Saturday night. The play is called Aftermath of a Dinner Party. It was directed by the amazing Shellen Lubin. Shellen, I've had the good fortune of knowing Shellen for a few years and getting an opportunity to see her work as a director. She's worked and directed with us a few times. She's written for us. If you tuned in earlier in the week, you got an opportunity to see her play A Preamble, which was wonderful. And now you're going to get to see her directing chops tonight. The stellar cast, stellar stars. We have Cate Bitar, Heba Toulan, Nick Walther. Boom, boom, boom. Heba directed for us earlier in the week too. Again, everyone's so multi-talented. It makes this work so much easier and so much more delightful when you're working with such incredible artists. So I'm not going to say any more. Before we begin, as always, we like to provide a little bit of audio description for the benefit of anyone who is tuning in who cannot see us. So I would like to ask our artists if they would please share a bit of an audio description with us.
Hello, I'm Heba Toulan. I'm playing Zoe. I am using American Sign Language. Taylor Flanagan is the voice that you hear, and her camera is off. I am a light-skinned female with long brown hair past my shoulders, with pearl earrings and a pearl choker necklace. I am wearing a long-sleeved black button-down silk blouse. The virtual background is of an elegant living room with long, light gray couches on each side, with cream-colored walls, and a lit fireplace directly behind me with a large framed mirror on the top. There is an elegant chandelier on the ceiling and a large window on my right.
Hello, my name is Nick Walther. I'm playing Peter J. Wildman. I'm a white man with bleach blonde hair combed to the side, have a beard, brown eyes, wearing an off-white button-down shirt and black blazer. My background is a relatively nondescript bedroom with gray blackout curtains and a mirror on the wall.
Marhaba everyone. My name is Bitar. I am playing Elizabeth R., she, her, a guest who attended last night's at Zoe's party. I am wearing big gold loop earrings and an embroidered colorful cardigan that I got in the bazaar in Turkey. My background is a simple bohemian bedroom with art on the wall.
And there we are. I think you all have a really great picture. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that this Saturday evening you will enjoy Aftermath of a Dinner Party by Cate Allen.
Hi.
Hello. Oh. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, muted.
Muted.
Sorry. Can you
Fine.
Hi.
Perfectly fine.
Hi, Zoe. Peter.
Hello.
Hi there.
Elizabeth.
Right. Elizabeth. Sorry.
I want to thank you both for agreeing to this call. I so appreciate it.
Of course.
No problem.
I should also say it was so nice meeting you last night, Elizabeth. Maura has such interesting friends.
Pardon?
Oh, Peter. No major consequences from the tiny bit of gluten that snuck its way into the meal.
No, it was fine. More preference than rule.
That's good. I thought so. The reason I asked to speak with the two of you is what happened at the end of the dinner party. I went back and forth about it and decided something like this is too important to let pass. Do you know to what I'm referring?
Unfortunately.
I do, yes. Thank you.
You see, I really don't know what happened. All I heard was the screaming.
It wasn't exactly screaming. She was upset.
Clearly. And Maura and Christoph have two wildly different versions of what occurred between them, each problematic in their own way. The two of you are the only ones in the room with them at the time, so I'm hoping you can kind of take me through it.
I'll do what I can.
Sure.
Oh, that's such a pretty top, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Why don't you start us off?
Sure. Just to correct you, I didn't see everything because I was on the other side of Maura.
As was I, on the other side of Christoph.
Peter. Continue, Elizabeth.
Sure. So I was, she and I, Maura, were talking, chatting, admiring your paintings.
Oh, thank you.
Sure. At some point, it felt like she looked to her right briefly away from me. And when she turned back, she looked puzzled.
Puzzled how?
Maybe uncomfortable is a better word. Her jaw was like, set, like she was, I don't know, defensive, definitely not relaxed. Like she wasn't listening to what I was saying anymore, but still looking at me a little panicked, It was kind of unnerving.
I'm sure.
That went on for maybe 30 seconds, and then she suddenly got very upset, kind of jumped and said Christoph had grabbed her. Body. She said, Ugh, let go of me. How dare you touch me?
Oh, yes, everyone heard that.
They had been brushing up against her for a while, and she had been trying to politely inch away, but then he just, you know, reached over and full on grabbed her.
With his hand.
Yes, with his hand.
That's just an awful thing. Peter,
Hmm?
what did you see?
Not much. Not really anything. I heard Mora, of course, when she started screaming. But as far as what I could see or did see,
So, you were speaking with Kristoff at the same time Elizabeth was talking to Mora.
I suppose that's true, yes. But I wasn't really conscious or aware of what was happening on the other side of Kristoff or who was even there until the screaming started.
Could we not say screaming?
Oh, sure.
Did you each have a drink? You and Kristoff, Peter?
We did.
Which hand did Kristoff have his drink in?
I don't remember.
Elizabeth?
I didn't have a drink. Mora did.
Oh. Peter, do you recall if Kristoff gestured with his free hand while he was speaking with you? Because that's what he said. He was telling you a story and he gestured with his free hand to make a point.
Yeah, that could be, but I don't know. We weren't facing each other. We were more kind of, elbow to elbow.
Oh. His right to your left.
That's right.
He said that in making this storytelling gesture, his hand, purely by accident, brushed against Mora so lightly he didn't know it had happened until he heard her accuse him.
Yeah, I heard him say that, but honestly, I have no idea what our conversation was about or what he was doing with which hand. What I remember is that Mora, is that her name?
Yes, that's her name.
Was suddenly very vocally upset.
Sorry. If he didn't know he touched her when it happened, why did he suddenly remember touching her after she yelled at him to stop?
I think he's taking her word for it.
Seriously?
There's nothing to get upset about, Elizabeth. We're just trying to get to the bottom of all this. It's in the service of the truth.
Fine, let's go then. Come on.
Oh, shh.
Why would she decide out of nowhere to accuse a man she's never met of something so horrible in someone else's home?
You never know what someone's going through.
Oh, sorry. Guess I was holding that in.
I don't know you that well, Elizabeth. I don't even know Mora very well. I've just always found her to be a lovely spirit, highly entertaining, wonderful to have around.
Entertaining. Okay.
Kristoff, I know slightly better, but not really. Peter, whom I know fairly well, I believe knows Kristoff fairly well.
Sure, you can say that.
All our children play ice hockey together.
What? Where can you play ice hockey in the city?
I'm afraid I can't say.
Okay, sure.
We may never know the answer to this incident, whatever it was.
No. I find that unacceptable. A woman was possibly assaulted in my home and was very, very upset.
All we really know is the very upset part.
It happened. I was right there.
But you didn't see anything. And my very good rug is covered with an enormous wine stain, which was caused by one of them spilling their drink during this whole thing, whoever's fault it was.
Please wait. Is this about your rug getting stained?
Not just stained, very badly stained.
I remember seeing that. It was very large.
That you remember.
Have you sent it out?
Oh, I'm still getting estimates, but we've pre-treated.
Good thinking.
So what, you just want someone to pay for it?
Whoever spilled the wine, wouldn't you?
Can't really blame you there. Good rug restoration is extremely pricey.
It's only fair.
A woman was aggressively grabbed, and all you can think about is
As Peter said, we might never know the truth about the physical contact, but I think if we put our minds to it, we can figure out who was responsible for the wine. Did either of their hands look sticky? Do either of you recall?
Let me think on that.
I'd like to say something. You people suck.
Elizabeth, dear, this rug is worth $40,000. You may not understand that, but...
You're right. I do not understand why anyone has to own a $40,000 rug.
It isn't just any rug. It's a family heirloom that was smuggled out of Nazi Germany in 1938 under tremendous hardship.
Oh my goodness, that's I'm so sorry. I had no idea this had such deep meaning for your family.
Well, not my family, but a family.
I'm out.
Unfortunate.
Now that I think of it, I think I did see Christoph's wine glass pitch forward and him kind of stepping back a little.
Really?
Like he'd spilled. Yes. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Do you want me to speak with him?
Would you?
I'll pull him aside. He probably didn't even realize with all the commotion.
I'm sure. Thank you, Peter.
Anytime. Well, bye now.
Bye.
How very civilized, wasn't it? Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Come on back, everyone. Oh, so lovely to have you. Thank you all. Such a great company and such a great fun play for Saturday evening in New York. I had to think about this one. You know what this reminded me of a little bit, Kate? It reminded me of 6 Degrees of Separation. That's what it reminded me of.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, Bill, it's that whole, the sort of these Upper East Side people who are very, very surface, and then the whole idea of people who are not of that group that sort of encroach on it. I found that really interesting and fascinating.
I certainly welcome the comparison. Thank you so much.
This was again such great fun and really, really exciting to see how it all gelled together. I'm really curious to sort of I don't know. I want to talk about. I want to ask the actors first about not necessarily working particularly on this piece, but this sort of, we had talked earlier about working on in this medium versus working live. First of all, have any of you had an opportunity since? I don't like to think the pandemic ended because there's still weird things that are happening. But have you had opportunities to perform live since, I don't know, we sort of opened up? Let's all talk about that. And I know how about you're in Texas right now, and I want to know what it might be like there as opposed to here in New York. And I'm just curious to sort of get a feel for that.
Yes. Wow. Soon I will be opening a show of 12th Night. It's in 2 weeks and it's going to be live show.
Oh, wow.
But, recently with the pandemic, we started a show, I want to say it was 12th Night. It was my third live performance.
Mm-hmm.
But I really was just so I was just hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
I really just did hundreds of Zoom shows.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very different experience than live theater. But you have to understand, there was one show that we did outside and masks weren't required. But now with Texas, it's very, casual with the pandemic. It's very laid back. It's hard to be an artist and live in Texas right now. And you're worried about your health, but with the masks being required and it's now being dropped, social distancing being dropped, all of these requirements not being required, I still wear a mask. I still get tests. I still want to take care of everything because I want to take care and protect myself. So really, it's a tough question. I'm lucky to be from a live community theater, and I feel safe showcasing my skills.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I think it's really interesting and important because I think we all are live, like we're theater artists. That's, I think we've all started. Please correct me if I'm wrong about that. So that experience is so important, and it's something we all miss, and it's something that we crave. And as we now are moving back towards I don't want to say back towards normalcy, because that's an odd thing for me. I don't think things were normal before the pandemic. So to say going back to normalcy means, it's like, what does that mean? What is it like? Sarah, have you been doing anything live? And where are you? I'm sorry. Are you here?
I'm in Bushwick, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we did. I had a performance at the LaGuardia Performing Arts Center about a month ago for a piece that I wrote, and it was part of a bigger piece called Shelter and Love, done by Eclipse's group, New York, which is for the most part a Greek theater company. And I had a performance last week at May Day at an event that I was curating. And last June, I did through Rattlestick Playwrights Theater. I was part of a show called Glimpse. And yeah, so no, I wouldn't say like full on like back to live performance, especially that in like in the winter, Omicron hit again, and it was like all like back to square one with anxiety, with social anxiety. And our unwillingness to breathe around other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely like not the same as like I would say a year ago. In terms of
I'll agree with you. I mean, we can talk about that a little bit. But you did say you wrote, so I'm like, you're gonna write for us next time, right? I hope maybe. Can we?
I find it a little intimidating because English is my third language, so I basically write things that are for right now. I write things that are relevant to me.
I said third. Wow.
Yes, I speak Arabic natively.
Oh.
And, I speak French as well, which is the language of the colonizers in Lebanon.
Wow.
Yeah, I came to New York in 2016. So, yeah, I stayed. I'm on an artist visa, which is a very difficult thing to get. My official status is alien of extraordinary abilities in the arts.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, that's perfect. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. Listen, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just in awe of pretty much everybody here because
Totally.
Yeah, the ability to act and to direct and to write and to do everything. I'm just kind of.
I would love to write. I was just thinking about it. It's funny, like 5 minutes ago, I was like, maybe I would write and I would ask people to pitch in, like, to shift the some parts of the dialogue to the way they speak, so why not? Yeah. Improvise some. I love devised work. I love it.
It's interesting to talk about it in that way because I think, I'm always fascinated by the fact that as artists, as art makers, we get to create the worlds that we're presenting. And so much of it is, I don't necessarily want to say having the courage, although there is courage, I think, in being an artist and expressing yourself, even if you don't consider yourself an artist, there's courage in that. I think, but to be able to dare to think in a bigger way and to expand and to push those constraints. We'll talk about disability in theater in a second because that's part of this discussion that I want to have.
Feels very energetic from the audience too. You can't get that from Zoom.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. Nick, what about you? Have you been doing any live theater over the last, say, year?
Yeah, a little bit. I just co-hosted a show at the Brick on Thursday. That was like a variety night, kind of like alt comedy performance art, kind of just weird, zany, outrageous performances and acts. That was really fun. I did performed a short play a couple times, also at the Brick earlier in the fall. I've done some like readings, in person or in front of an audience. And then last summer, I got to do a play in the Columbus Park Pavilion. So it was an outdoor play.
Right.
That was really fun. That Sean Phillips was in, another TBTB collaborator.
Sean, yep.
Yeah, that was really, really awesome. That was, man, I love that. It was this play, Gods of the Mountain, written by Lord Dunsany, Irish writer from early 20th century. Yeah, that was super fun. I'm maybe forgetting a couple things, but those are the main things that I recall. But yeah, I mean, it's always such fun. I mean, yeah, like you said, we all, got into this for the love of performing live. And it's so great to do that. But even still, COVID, always ever present, even as things have gotten, or, as vaccines have emerged, et cetera, like we had to cancel closing night of the outdoor play because somebody in the cast got COVID. The show on Thursday, we had somebody drop last minute because she got COVID. So it's still, it's always looming, stressful thing to have to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you, Shellen, and you as well, Cate, if you've been doing projects in person or even if you're just going to see theater. And the whole point of me asking all of this of all of you is because I want to sort of get a measure as to what it feels like now. I can tell you our experience. TVTV did a show in October. We did our first live stage production. It was a revival of Brecht on Brecht, a show that we wanted to do in 2020 that we had to postpone. And it was wonderful to be able to finally be in front of an audience again. Like there was something that felt wonderful and familiar, like almost like time didn't elapse, which was lovely. But at the same time, it was ever present. It was in our rehearsals. Actors were wearing masks every day. We had to be tested. When we went into the theaters, actors were not wearing masks, but the audience was. Actors had to stay 6 feet away. We had to do testing every week. Even now, we have to, now the tests, you don't have to test twice a week with the heavy duty tests. You have to test every day with the easier. So we haven't yet gotten away from it's still there.
Absolutely. Last fall, I did a staged reading in 3 spaces of an immersive play with another great TV actor. Christine Bruno was one of my actors in that. Mm-hmm. And we had to replace the young man who was doing the child, playing her child in it for the second performance because he didn't even get COVID, but he was exposed and we couldn't risk the other actors potentially being exposed. So yeah, the fall was tricky because we thought we were coming back. And then in the winter, everything has been pretty much back online again, but I direct the Bistro Awards every year. It's a cabaret awards show. And the producer of that pushed it back to the middle of May. That's going to be in the middle of May because she's fairly sure we're going to be able to do that live. And I go to my workshops. We all wear masks unless you've been tested that day. If you're presenting, if you're acting, if you get tested that day, I get tested. I teach voice to professional actors and singers and work one-on-one with people. I get tested regularly because I don't want to jeopardize anybody or myself. It's really tricky, but I have been going to theater, but I never take that mask off from the second I leave home until I get back again. And I don't do it with the same regularity that I did a few years ago.
Yeah.
What about you, Cate?
Actually, my first live show is going to be at the end of April. So we're just starting next week. Yeah, next week already. We're just starting rehearsals in New York. And I'm so excited. I can't tell you because I've done so many things over Zoom. Right. And it's been wonderful, but it hasn't been the same. So I'm very, 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 this is a play that was supposed to be part of a festival in 2020. And is obviously postponed until now. And things are just slow to start up again. Theaters are slower to, they're backlogged, they're slower to read, they're slower to consider things. So yeah, there's a ripple effect. I've definitely seen a ripple effect.
I did do one other thing last fall that was interesting. We did a concert reading of a new musical that I was also the lyricist for and directed. We got all the actors together. So we were all together when we recorded it. But then, so everything is, various kinds of hybrid.
Yeah.
Oh, we went into the studio. You reminded me, Shellen, because I wrote and produced an audio drama podcast. And we went into the studio in February, and I can't tell you how thrilling it was just to be in a room with a bunch of actors again. It was like, God, I missed this. I just missed it so much, that energy you get.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's sort of that weird thing. Like the way I'm seeing it now, it's almost like we might be on a parallel track with where we were. Like we might be, but it's different. It's not quite the same. And I don't know if that will ever happen in the near future or what we can expect in terms of removing masks and not having to worry about tests anymore and going back to whatever that is and was, and how we will all be affected by that in the end. And while this will never replace that, there's been so many pluses and positives to come out of this. We were talking the other night about how there are so many people that we've brought together on this little, format. And I mean, most of you, I've never, well, I shouldn't say most of you, but some of you I've never met before in person. And yet I feel like I know you, and that's the way it is with all of the other actors that are involved in this intensive. It is an opportunity to bring people together. And this work does have a very positive effect. And it gives us possibilities to create work even on a bigger scale internationally and whatnot. So I was just curious about all of that, because while I'm excited that we are finally starting to get back to normal, the next 2 projects the TVTV is going to be doing this season is a workshop of Taming of the Shrew. And then in May, we're going to be doing what we call our Playmakers Redux, where I said earlier, we're going to take several of the plays that we'd created on Zoom, and we're going to try to transfer them to the stage. And we're going to do that live. We're going to do that, in one of the studio theater here at Theater Row, which is lovely. But again, I feel that this lifeboat that has been created is really become much more than a lifeboat in that regard. So I'm very grateful to all of that, and I'm grateful to all of you for being so game and receptive, and hope that you'll continue to be, because this is a forum that we're not going to stop doing.
When I describe this to people, I say this is more like Playhouse 90 than it is like, it's not film and it's not live theater, but it is live happening. And that's why I love that you do the play twice, because you're already feeling just in those 2 performances how it's continuing to evolve.
Yeah. And for the actors, again, even though you don't have the audience and even though you're not with your actors in the same place, there's still, I think, from my vantage point, there's still a bit of excitement and thrill, the fact that this is going out live. People are watching you perform and talk and create live wherever they are. On the other side of the world, there are people that are tuning in right now, and we have friends and colleagues in Japan where it is 10 o'clock in the morning, and I love that. I just think it's great. People, we have a lot of friends in Europe, but I don't know too many people that are up at 3 o'clock in the morning over there, but people have watched, and they'll watch it the next day. So we've gotten a lot of great feedback because of it. So I'm just so grateful to all of you. I don't really have a whole lot much more to say other than just superlatives. Does anyone else have any thoughts or anything they'd like to add? I think creating work in this way for disabled artists, I find interesting as well, because oftentimes you don't, not that we ever try to hide disability, but in this forum, when you're generally seeing people from the shoulders up, if you have a visible physical disability, people don't see it. I will say in this forum, specifically, I'll talk in Heba's case and artists who are deaf, hard of hearing. You get to see it a little closer, and I get to be able to see it, and that is very special, because I'm able to focus on you and not on the bigger picture and having to scatter my focus around. And that is a great gift. Perhaps people will have more of an awareness of that when we do go back to live, and they're able to appreciate more. And I'm not just talking about the language. It's it's watching the artists. It's getting to see what the artists are doing, which I think is great. So those are the positives of all of this, I think. I don't know. I just feel really grateful. I think for our company, this has been a huge gift for us.
So I'll throw in one more thought or something maybe worth discussing. I would be interested to hear the actors' perspective on this. So in live, because you're talking about the difference, and in live theater, the director with the actors works out actions that cause the audience to focus on one thing instead of something else. Mm-hmm. And in film, the cinematographer, again, working with the director and of course the actors, is the focus itself. Mm-hmm. This is a whole nother thing where the actor themselves has to, in a sense, be the camera person, but they also have to, we used leaning in and going back and turning and to create where that focus would go. Mm-hmm. In the space. So I don't know, I think that's a really interesting thing about this medium as different from film and different from live. I was wondering, maybe the actors would like to talk about that a little?
Yeah, the hybrid quality of this.
Yeah.
It's as you were saying, unlike film, the camera basically will tell you where you look, and the editor will tell you where to look.
Right.
This is not edited. So what are your thoughts with it? What are your thoughts on Zoom technique 101? Anyone?
Well, I remember last year with
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. And from the movie, and
Meatloaf.
Oh, and you see the Meatloaf. Yeah, the name of the person is Meatloaf. They're riding the bike, and you see the camera right in front of their face, right, riding the bike. And they're in the building, circling the building. The camera is right in front of the face, and you see Meatloaf, the character, riding the bike, riding the motorcycle. There was something that so smart. There was such a smart idea that if they take advantage of that camera control, and the character holds. I held the laptop, and it was really fascinating, for that person signing, they were singing while moving the laptop and the camera, and it was just amazing. And so that was just showed me a different way that we can take advantage of Zoom technology, like taking control of the camera ourselves. And when you put it to sleep, you can hold it right in front of yourself and then show that you're waking up, like while you're holding the laptop and sitting up with the camera in your face. So they showed that waking up, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I kind of want to see that, but it's like train spotting, mm-hmm. like that angle of like getting up from the bed. I've also like written for another show like about 2 years ago. Oh my God, yeah, almost 2 years ago. It was June 2020. I don't want to go back there. But yeah, I put like the Statue of Liberty behind me, and I was just like chatting with her. So that I think it's like just fun to see how creative we can get with this medium. But in this case, even if we weren't together, it was like a very realistic setting. And I'm sitting down, which is also different, like then like we can't really move. So we're still like expressing like and having the thoughts and the images and listening for real. So I kept telling myself, like, just listen to like what the other act, like the performance of the other characters, so that I'm like trying to respond truthfully as much as possible, hoping that that'll tell the story and register for the people watching.
I find it all fascinating. Like, I would like to create, I'd like to be able to do a few plays that really focus on the effects that we can create, camera effects and all of this. There are a lot of other programs out there that are, and plugins for Zoom, where we can control where you are on the screen and all of these other things that go along with it. That's all lovely. I didn't want to do that so much with these intensives because they're new plays, and I want the words, I want the writing to be focused on, not we've dabbled in things where we've had actors that have multiple cameras. They'll have a laptop on, they'll have their desktop computer on, and they'll have their phone on. So we'll be able to see them walking around the room while they're holding a camera and moving around. So you're seeing all these different angles, which can also be a little dizzying when it's the same person and you're watching them here and moving around like in different angles. It's kind of a neat idea. And I would love to be able to say, okay, maybe for the next incarnation of our virtual intensives, we'll take some of the plays that we've written and try to really start adding those techniques in to see how we can, but my feeling is the more we do that, the more it becomes about cinema and not about plays. This is theater, not, so we want to try to keep it as, like, again, just your basic techniques of, oh, I'm signing a paper. Here, you sign, and then you take the pen and all this other, bumping the two boxes next to each other so that the lovers can go nose to nose, even though they're not anywhere near each other. Like, those are all great ideas. But, and I'd like to play with them a little bit, maybe in another incarnation. Do you have anything, Nick? I mean, you've done enough of these.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it before. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it, becomes, so much of it leans on just reacting to face and voice, of your scene partners, in a way, it feels different than it would, on stage. You don't have like you don't have the same energetic transfer. It's a little bit more, it's more very much like zoomed in on like what, the little square that you can see, if you're not having to just completely look at the script, and then what your scene partner is saying, how they're saying it. So it really just kind of breaks down the reacting to those two elements, which I find interesting. Yeah, like I do voice acting, so I appreciate having the opportunity to kind of bring in those, that specific tool set and experience in a way that's even more pronounced, or at least different than it would be if we were all on stage together, kind of, worrying about, blocking and like having the ability to react based off each other's just physical presence and energy and all that. So I've come to appreciate the very particular ways that one has to learn to act and react on Zoom. It is interesting. And then I think it was Richard Rose told me the trick where you should at least one person should place themselves in like split the screen into three. So I that's why I place myself like over here more rather than in the center. Richard Rose said that makes for a nice picture. So I still apply that advice.
Yeah. All those are very simple. And the thing is, the work isn't static. I don't feel that this, I mean, while this can flatten people out, I don't think like the actual principle of Zoom cameras tend to flatten you out. The work itself still comes very much through. It's still very, very alive and very, very visceral. So that is, you got that going for you, every one of you. I am, again, thank you so much for all of your wonderful discussion about all of this. We can go on for days, but I think right now we're going to we're going to say goodnight. And I want to thank you all again for your incredible gifts, your incredible talents. You elevate our company with your wonderful gifts. So thank you for everything.
Thank you for
Nick.
creating this and employing so many artists.
Well, it's a gift. I mean, what you offer, it hopefully you get something in return from that. That's the part of it that I'm very grateful for. And I'm grateful to all of you for tuning in tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of our work and getting an opportunity to see us. I did not mention that we were dedicating the shows this evening to Tucker's granddad, Lawrence Matthews. Happy birthday. Hope you have a wonderful day, and know that we are all celebrating with you on this virtual platform. And we hope you'll all tune in again tomorrow. We have a wonderful show tomorrow night, you guys. A great play by a writer who this is his first time working with us. His name is Chris Snock, and the play is Mayflies. So that will be at 7:30 on YouTube, 8:30 on the Facebook right here. Directed by Everett Quinton, starring Courage Backus, Alyssa H. Chase, and Dan Teachout, the amazing Dan Teachout. So I hope you'll tune in 7:30, YouTube, 8:30 right here. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our wonderful artists here, thank you for tuning in, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow and for all of the nights to come. Have a good night, all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for all of your incredible time and your incredible talents.
Nick.